Please talk a little bit about your process.
I think I didn't set out to become a nonfiction filmmaker or filmmaker at all. That was not in the scheme of my things in my life. It was I wanted to write and travel. And so after my bachelor's, I was just like, what is that course that will help me do that? And I think studying at Jamia had a huge impact on the way many things shaped in my life. We were a batch of 50 students, and people from all across the country, from all sorts of backgrounds. I think there were hardly very few handful of folks who had already maybe made a film or had a photography background. Somebody was from a dairy technology background. I studied literature. Someone came from a and from different walks of life, different. It was just such an amazing coming together of different realities, and I think being a part of that kind of film school was really important because I didn't have any grammar of what a shot. I never really touched a film camera, an analog camera in my whole life. And yet to be working in groups of 10, 8 that were randomly put together by the institute, and you had to work together on concepts that you all agree or disagree on. And that's really where the viewpoints would come. People who approach storytelling so differently depending on who they are, where their lives had been, situated, their memories. And that's really what filmmaking is all about. And I remember one day, and you had to be like, one day you could be a director and the other day you could be on somebody else's set as a production assistant. Also helps you respect different roles. And I was a production assistant on a film, and we were two assistants, and it started raining. And I was like, thank goodness, in this miserable heat of Delhi, I'm so happy it's raining. And this batchmate of mine, he was just like, but in my village, all the mango, harvest is going to suffer because it's an bin badal barsat. And that's
Right.
when I distinctly remember that because our life experiences are so different. And so every story that we're going to approach, our lens is everything, our gaze is everything. And so I think I met Sushmit at film school, and we did our first student documentary together about a photographer who was gay and HIV positive, and used the nude form of his body to really question the ideas of shame and identity, and the way he is looked at by himself and people around him. So very much like the gays. And we were all like these fresh, about to graduate film school students with literally zero experience about life per se, all cis heterosexual, going to make this film about this guy. I still wonder why he allowed us to do that kind of access, but that became a very formative film in my really decision to do nonfiction in my life, and also Sushmit and my collaboration, because we had such open and amazing conversations with him. And he was truly ready to be the participant in the film and not be the photographer. And the film is called Flying Inside My Body, and it's traveled a lot. It continues to be used in curriculum around gender studies. But one thing that remains special is I invited my father for a screening at Max Muller. And I come from a very strong, traditional Christian kind of upbringing where gender and sex is not spoken at home. And so when he watched the film, I was very nervous. I was just like, I don't know what conversation we're going to have after this. And at home, he said, after watching the film, I felt like these people also have a right to be happy and to be who they are. And I was like, wow, that conversation happened even when the syntax of language is these people, but we've had this conversation. And that's the power of cinema. It's beyond being a visual and an oral medium. It's an emotional one. And it comes from the gaze of the filmmaker. And I think we cannot, everything that needs to be said has been said by all the filmmakers on the panel, but I think it's a preoccupation with me. What is my line of inquiry? Why am I curious about this story? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to spend 5 years of my life on this thing? And how can I do it in a way that that can create fully rounded characters. Because the power, as Alka started off, the power is insane,
Right.
and even when we are trying to be aware and trying to make it more equitable, it is inherently not possible. So then there are many ways in which we can be more aware of it, bring that as a conversation with people that we decide to film with who are opening up their lives to us, because we have the ultimate responsibility of representation. And so, I try not to parachute into people's lives, assuming that I know what the story is. My engagement is long and sustained, and also creating an environment where we can have open conversations, where people can ask me questions, and about my lens, about my life, where I come from, and why do I want to make this film. And I think that's where complex questions arise, and that is also an opportunity to consciously um, encounter unconscious biases that we have and the
Right.
stereotypes that we carry, because there's a lot of conditioning that we have as people, as women. And so that's what makes it exciting for me. That's why nonfiction is my space of love, because it's so dynamic, and it's constantly changing. And right now we're at a moment of reckoning completely, where everything that we fought against and pushed back on are the conversations that we're all having. And where do we go from here is really the question.
Right. Thank you so much, Rintu.